Hello everybody, my name is Alex Fuchs. I'm a food and beverage photographer from Berlin in Germany, and you're watching Easy Food Photography. That's a place where I share all my little tips and tricks and my knowledge around food photography exclusively with you. So today I have a really interesting topic. I want to give you 5 good reasons why you should put your camera on a tripod when you're doing food photography. So when you are into that, enjoy, relax, and stay tuned. Okay, let's start with a really basic thought. When we're talking about photography, we are talking about having control over our image at every, step. We don't want to have, we don't want to let the camera control what we are doing and what we are trying to achieve. The camera is only a tool, and if you let the cam run by automatical procedures, you don't get the results you probably want to achieve. So the first thing for me, which is quite essential, is that when you're doing photography, you need to be in control. And that's really important. You want to control the shutter speed, you want to control the f-stop, you want to control the ISO, you want to control how the light is coming into your frame, you want to shape the light, you want to flex the light, you want to, put things into your frame. You want to control everything, because then you will probably at the end getting a result which suits you. So that's a really basic thought, but I think that's really important because I see a lot of people doing this mistake at the very beginning, and they are then wondering why the outcome is not as good as they expected. So keep always in control. That's my recommendation for you. So, but that leads to the first reason why you should put your camera on a tripod. When you are on a set, or when you are on a gig, you probably have a lot to do, and even when you are a beginner, it is often these kind of jobs where you are working alone. So you don't have an assistant who can help you out with things or give you a hand. So you have to do all the things by yourself, and that's the first reason why you should put your camera on a tripod, because you need your hands for other stuff. And when you want to go back and forth, and the changings you probably made in your picture, you need your hands. And if you don't put your camera on a tripod, you have with every time you look through the viewfinder again, you will have a slightly different image, and you will and you will lose control. You will lose control over the picture because you will have slightly different angle or a slightly different perspective. So put your camera on a tripod to have your hands free and to control the image. The next point is a good reason 2 why you should put your camera on a tripod is obvious. So at the beginning, or when you're shooting with daylight, you often have to shoot with longer exposure times. When it's not so bright outside, like today, it's overcast or whatever. So you probably have to work with longer exposure times. And you can't do these kind of shots handheld, because then you get a blurry and defocused image at the end. So that's a really good reason to put your camera on a tripod. So when you are shooting in daylight, it depends, what you want to achieve. You can go handheld. I see a lot of colleagues doing handheld stuff, but I really prefer to put my camera on a tripod because I'm an absolute control freak, and I want to control everything. I want to control every detail, and I only can do that when I put the camera on a tripod. And and if you have to work with longer exposure times, you have to put your camera on a tripod for sure, because otherwise you don't get what you want. So the next reason why you should put your camera on a tripod is to avoid micro vibrations. So when we are talking about food photography, we are talking about macro photography. This means that we are often really, really close to our subject. That leads to a really narrow or shallow field of depth. And that, and then, even when you shoot with higher f-stop, so f22, so it can be that the depth of field is really, really shallow, and you can't achieve that with shooting handheld. Then it's more or less like a what's the English term for that? You have to catch focus by chance maybe then, but you haven't the control that you will get the picture as you want it. So when you are working with a DSLR, you can get these micro vibrations really, really fast, because every time you click the trigger, the mirror in a DSLR is going up, and this can cause micro vibrations and affect your image and the sharpness of your image. So do yourself a favor, put your camera on a tripod to avoid micro vibrations. Reason 4 why you should put your camera on a tripod is related to post-production. So for me, food photography is a process. I start with an idea in my mind, and then I'm creating the scene from scratch, and after a while I see, okay, I want to change this, and I want to put that away, and I want to throw this in, and all these little details, and you can't really see the development in your composition when you don't have your camera fixed on a tripod, because everything slightly changed, perspective changed, angle changed, the details look different. So food photography is about being in control at every point. So you have to control that at any time. So it's really important, and to see the development of your picture idea, it's really helpful to have your camera on a tripod. So put it on a tripod. So the next good reason why you should put your camera on a tripod is to have more options in post-production. So when it comes to any kind of professional photography, you always want to have as much options as you can get for post-production, because you never know what your client really wants. Clients often change their minds and their ideas, and even when they have been right beside you at a shoot, they're coming up with sometimes I will say crazy things, but you have to then to have another option to show them. Otherwise, they maybe get disappointed. And it's really good to have most options you can generate. When you put your camera on a tripod and you do different exposures, or you do some different variations of a shot, then it starts snowing here. The light is gone. Wow. It's a blizzard in Berlin. Wow. It's really important to have the most options you can get, and that's the reason why you should put your camera on a tripod. Often you want to have the option to comp different images in post-production and combine different details from multiple shots into multiple layers in Photoshop. So that's a reason why you should put that cam on a tripod, because then it's much easier to layer up all the multiple shots, because you don't have any kind of change, in perspective and angle and all these kind of stuff. So do yourself a favor, put your camera on a tripod. The next reason why you should put your camera on a tripod while you're doing food photography is related to post-production too. So often, because when you're doing food photography, I mentioned it before, you often have you are really close to your subject, and this generates a really shallow depth of field of depth. So it is possible that even when you're shooting at a, let's say, f22, your subject won't be in focus. The whole subject won't be in focus. So you have to use techniques like so-called focus stacking. This means you're doing multiple shots of your composition, but you slightly change the focus from the beginning of your subject to the end of the subject, and so that you have the chance in post to comp all this different focus things together, and to get to make your focus broader. I don't know if that's the right English term, but I think you get me. So you can increase your focus with focus stacking in post-production, and for that it's absolutely necessary that you have a fixed camera position and a fixed angle, and so that's the reason why you should put your camera on a tripod. The last reason why you should put your camera on a tripod is more or less related to a client workflow. When you have clients around, they want to see what you are doing, and they want to. You have to make sure that they understand your process. And the best thing to show them that is, in my opinion, put your camera on a tripod, and then you can go back and forth, and they can see changes on the fly, because things will appear or disappear when you're going through your different exposures and different images. And clients are loving that, because they have the feeling that you are taking them on that journey together. So that's really important, I think. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks for hanging up with me. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you get something out of it. If you are into food photography and you want to bring your food photography a step further, I would really appreciate if you are joining me I made a free 7-day email course, Shoot Food Like a Pro. It's absolutely free, and as one of my subscribers wrote to me, free is like bacon, and bacon is always good. So I don't really know if that's true because I'm a vegetarian, but feel free to check it out. You know, you will find the link down below. And if you have any comments, any questions, you know, feel free to leave me a comment too, or just join my Instagram feed. Whatsoever. Hope to see you soon. You know, live long and prosper. See ya.